Alright guys, so I'm just going to quickly go over defense side for our Ascent games for Thursday. We're going to be looking at having this probably as more of a default setup. KO Omen towards A side, Killjoy and Sova on B side, and then Jet will be probably playing mid, but can kind of fly around depending based off of how we're feeling, whatever we want to contest. This is just a basic opening setup we can do. We have, we can shoot easily just recons into here, into B main to try to see whatever info we get. KO Knife can technically hit this corner here or hit this back corner here if he's playing over here to get some main info. Additionally, if KO wants to try to contest A main, just easily throw a Chuck a Knife over there. And that paired with the Omen one-ways that go right here, probably pretty easy to get some initial control of A main, right? And in the meantime, it's just going to be Tiago just kind of figuring out where he wants to go. We have plenty of KJ setups that we can do to shut down lane. Could play boat, could play in market, could play site, could play double site, right? If we wanted to play more defensive in retakey, right? We could do something this where these two are playing just to survive and to fall back into boathouse to try to delay as long as they can. So this way the other three can come in to the side. And for the most part, that is basic defaults. So one other thing that we can do, if we wanted to be more heavy in attacking A side, we probably would want to have this side, just to mention, playing more of a retake setup. Or we could have Sova in mid just to throw some darts into mid and control market. So this way when the retake comes in, Killjoy eventually dies. We have control of mid and market to get this rotation in a little bit easier. And then it can always just take a drone, bring it out, check main, and check lane. So in this setup here, just a simple one-way, chuck a dart close, and these two can hold control. And then in the meantime, hold their paranoia this way to help support. And this is really just get control, get some information, hold it a little bit, and then if we decide that everything is good, then we can either leave Tiago here to hold while the KO and Omen go get control of the rest of the map or whatever, or Omen can walk over because Omen's a little bit better of a anchor for the A site because of global range, essentially, with smokes. So it can still affect B, even though it's over here, tucking to wine or try to push up. Whatever we decide we want to do. KO would probably be playing more of the rotator, in any setup, to be honest, from A. Additionally, would probably be the same for Sova, who would be rotating off of B if there's going to be any off of B. And KJ and Omen end up being our two anchors on our two sites. Yeah, just to recap. Dump util, hold control. Either Jet or Omen holds / lurks through a main. And our two people who would be anchoring on A and B is Omen and Killjoy, typically. Another thing that can be done in such a setup, right, if we wanted to play even heavier in towards B and with our two agents here, and we wanted to give up mid, say we don't expect them to be hit a lot. Killjoy turret, Killjoy alarm bar kind of catches here, so this way we can see the beginnings of a mid B split. But obviously, it's only going to be so useful because Killjoy is going to have to fall back to boathouse, and then it's out of range, right? But Killjoy can always throw a turret on the boxes here, and it can also see mid and has that turret up regardless of where she's playing on B site. Another option that we can do, swapping the sides a little bit here, is throwing Sova over to A to help get info either into A main or to shoot a dart out from short to try to get some mid information. I have no idea what lineups you have, Connor. Technically, you could also go into mid if you wanted to try to do a mid dart. Just hit back here something, or shoot one into tiles from here. But what we can do is we could also even swap these two agents here. But this whole point of the setup here is Jet has an up. Jet's going to hold B main. So we have a couple pieces of util. We can throw a KO knife like up against this wall into that corner, nice and easy, and we can see all of main and just outside of it. So then that kind of gives Jet an idea, okay, someone is here at all. Maybe they decide to not peek once that knife hits, maybe they still do, but that gives Jet the ability to have some sort of info. And we could always, if we wanted to, have the Sova on this side to throw the dart up into here to get some recon information. Jet 2. I could even do this too, even with like, Sova sitting there with an Odin spamming through the box and all that. Wonderful, good stuff. And over here on this side, we're just going to be playing more of like a defensive retake setup, maybe throwing alarm bot here and turret here or something, just to kind of see if someone pushes across and pushes out, and then we have to fight them. Once we have Jet posted up here, right? Say the KO knife sees nobody, or say the Sova dart goes in and sees nobody. Jet can push up and scale up and hold this area. Just hold a nice angle right here, and doesn't have to worry about it. And then we can move these guys to move into mid or to move over. In a situation that we decide we want to try to heavily contest tiles off the start of the map, we have two options with our KO and our Sova dart. We can throw from main or from mid. We can throw a dart up into here, recon, and then with KO we can throw a knife into here, and this will catch whoever is coming out, because on this area that it's not going to catch this box isn't actually something we have to worry about at the start, because when the barriers drop, they're kind of going like this, right? And by the time this knife lands and pops, they won't be in the area yet. So they'll be tagged and then there. And I mean, this effective area here that we're hitting with this, the only spots that someone's most likely going to be is maybe if there's an Omen standing in this corner, or they're pushing up into here. No one's just sitting in this area of B main or B lobby. So we can be pretty confident that someone's there. You can obviously just throw a smoke right here just to stop that sight line from being a problem. And this is probably less control to A. We still have some decent control towards B side, so we try to do this if we have like a KJ ultimate or something like that. Just a quick note, when it comes to just general defense, Killjoy util is pretty important taking, or just controlling site or whatever, especially if we have the lockdown. So in a situation where we're not playing heavy B defense in like site like this, obviously we should always be on the same page at the beginning of the round as to if we're going to be doing. Sova would probably be the one to fall into site itself, and then Killjoy would be the one to fall back towards CT, and be able to put the in later for the take. In a situation where you don't have KJ, ultimately probably would rather have these two swapped because the drone and the Condar are very finding out where the enemy in trying to retake. So getting a kill, just doing some chip damage and then away is totally fine. And when it comes to A side, with our typical A players, it's probably going to be the Omen that's a little more important because smokes for A main. So, and there's probably more times that Omen would be playing side of tree in comparison to KO. So we would probably have Omen try to play a little more their own life rather than trying to suicide for kills to make the retake easy. I'm gonna start talking about retakes. Obviously, this is all dependent on whoever's actually alive. So I'm just gonna go through each person and say roughly what they would want to do in a retake situation. The easiest is Jet and Killjoy. Jet obviously and Killjoy, if they have set up onto B, the only utility that a Killjoy might have that's important post plant is the lockdown, which we would just throw into tree over here. So if anyone's here, there's only one place that they can be that's safe. Which, if we're doing that, then maybe we can throw smokes areas to try to make it so they can't bend. And so if Killjoy doesn't have ulti, the Killjoy is just a rifle. Same thing with Jet. So these two would be our first to enter onto site in all situations, just based off of util. Because the other three people technically have util that is useful. Smoke here. Smoke that's actually really important. Be hucking random smokes to try to TP into, or throwing it Gen to do some one ways, push people off of Gen, or to TP onto. Technically, this is also something theoretically possible, where it's right on this corner, and you can drop down like right here, still inside of the smoke. Butt out from there. It's only good for one person, but that's probably never going to be seen. So first thing with KO, hucking a knife towards main is A main is definitely going to be useful, just to know if anyone is actually playing back here. If you just huck it right back here, it's either getting shot and destroyed, or it's going to clear off everything except for this little area, which is a lot. A person who isn't going to be in this area that's playing towards A main is going to be doing lineups. Other thing is chucking KO nade here. I think technically Killjoy can do that. But if you throw a nade right here, L technically ends here, I think. And this goes through the. So, chucking the nade this general area will catch anyone that's playing on this side. Killjoy should be able to do the same thing with nano swarms. The only piece of utilities Killjoy actually really is useful for besides her ulti. And then Sova has a couple options that dart that they can shoot right here because it's a beam that will see majority of sight, which is pretty strong. Throwing the drone out, coming down, checking hell, and checking Gen are possibilities with Sova can some sort of crazy lineups that he may or may not to chuck some shark darts underneath. I don't know if these technically go through the floor or not, but it's there. And before I forget, with Omen, there is this come up here and throw a flash down towards Gen to push anyone in Gen out or to blind them to easier kills. And if opponent is playing from tree, be just across site just like this. This area is a little bit sketchy, right? Because blind is pretty bad. I can pretty easily hit both of these, so just gonna be a little careful on that. But it is a possibility to throw something just straight across site because it'll hit Gen, you can hit dice, get into hell. As for the B retake, Jet and Killjoy bearing lockdown again are basically just rifles to run in. If Killjoy has any sort of chuck up just to watch some flanks, right? Just to make sure everything's okay, so we catch some late lurks. If we have noticed that they're doing that kind of things, be really good. The only other thing is if Killjoy has nanos, throwing nanos back here, which is going to be the same thing for KO, mollies, and technically also the shock darts. I don't know what. If we just are wondering if anyone B main, sorry, we could just huck a knife over there. Even just right here up against this wall, we'll catch anybody that is remotely threat. Shouldn't be anyone in this back corner that's pretty far away, unless they're getting back in late. Spoo. Just because, yeah. So you can just huck one here, or you can huck it back here. If it gets destroyed or whatever, then you. This is only going to be if we need to clear out this main. If we know it's not there, then just huck a knife right here, up above a little bit, and it'll catch basically all of sight. It'll chuck it on the boxes. It doesn't quite catch the back of both. Chances that they're standing in the very back corners here are a little lower. They're typically tucked in here, tucked here. So should be fine doing main or a smoking boathouse. Essentially the only smokes that are irrelevant here. Omen does have the ability to stand here, throw paranoia, catch whoever's in lane if we want to, and whoever is tucked tight here, it does catch part of boat. Something like that. If Omen does this blind, and we have determined that there is somebody here, then Omen should be, after chucking the blind, should be the watch rather than trying to fit in or someone. So Omen should probably useful, probably done at this point. Sova, depends on where we are standing and how much of sight we've lost. If we're afraid of fighting this box, this outside main area of beam, then we're probably going to use drone and or the dart to try to get some info. If we know that this area is free to chuck all this stuff back here and let this stuff kind of lead and have Jet and Killjoy AO kind of follow that util. Yeah, KO, again, just if here, the only thing to mention is it's pretty easy to just chuck a flashbang, pop out here, falling of the entirety of sight. Last things I want to mention is just general routings around the map. Ascent's we pretty much know everything at this point, but coming through flanks areas, technically you can do things like this, try to get some control based off of wherever we have info on where they are or where they are not. Most part, trying to hold control in the area will make the rotations easy, just because we don't have to worry about a person here, and lets us going back and forth here, and we don't have to worry about getting shot in the back route through CT. As a general, something we should, as a general rule, what something we should try to strive for, not every round, but a decent amount of rounds, is finding one area to contest on the map. Whether that is trying to send people here, test aim, having Jet sit post up here, up to catch, just throwing the recon over here, and then having somebody walk up to this area. It's generally supposed to be good to try to buy space wherever you can. You don't have to sit there, post up, and just, hold down the fort and kill everybody. Just being pushed up to get some space to know where the enemy is going to. If we have Sova here, we have this set up. Right? We effectively this, and this means this section they have. That really limits where they can just have the stronger as to where. So we can play a little more defensive towards A in this section, or vice versa. If we have this, tell me where they are. they ain't in here. Here, got this. Maybe they're here, and so trying to find some timing up against any team would be really, really nice, because typically something that I've others is that any team will ever contest one main at a time. So obviously this is a lot of sense if the team is just 5-man rushing you, but if a team is trying to come in here to control here, probably not going to have someone. Might have people in mid, right? They could do 1-2-2, 1-3-1, and that or the other, but don't really have a guy pushing and a guy pushing around this corner. Because if both those guys get got right off the bat and up to 5v3, technically we automatically start with this control. If they're too extreme, just get wrecked. It's hard to win the round from there. So that is basically it. And attack next.